Hello guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you are doing well. This Monday morning I'm also doing well. I'm just preparing to go to work in the next like 2 hours, so I just thought to use this time to catch up with where I left from the previous video, because so many of you asked me to tell you how I was able to start working after getting a negative asylum decision. So this is what this video is gonna be about, so stay tuned and do not forget to leave a like on this video. Do not forget to share with somebody who would love or who needs an encouragement that there is light at the end of the tunnel when you keep your trust in God. And also do not forget to leave your comments in the comment section down below. So let's get right into it. Yeah, so I know that the past videos were actually really giving a very negative vibe, and there was negativity after negativity, but I just want to say that it's possible for somebody to build their lives or to recover, get back on their feet even after getting a negative decision. It actually depends on you as an individual, what you decide to do with your life. So what I can say for myself is that when I was at the camp, when I was at this second camp, actually I was lucky to have found yet another opportunity to work at the camp and to earn some money. But it just doesn't end with the fact that you are earning some money, but it also reflects positively on you as an individual, that you are you are a resourceful person. You are able to contribute to positively to the society and all that stuff. So how did I even end up starting to work in this camp? As soon as I got to the camp, of course, we had to go through orientation and met some really nice social worker from Nigeria. And on that day we arrived, two of us, me and another Kenyan guy, to the camp. We went through orientation together, and this guy told us that if we need anything, maybe help with translation of or recognition of foreign certificates, if we need help with joining a language class, whatever help that we need, if we have any questions, then we can approach the social office, we can approach him or any other social workers, and we will be able to be assisted. And of course, me, I was not going to sit there and do nothing, because considering the point where my case had reached, I really had to be proactive. So in any case, at that point I was facing this charge. I had this medical charge from Austria that I had to pay, the 318, after going to the hospital in Austria. So again, I approached this social worker with this question, that what is the best way to go about it to settle this bill? Because of course I explained that it is a lot for me to settle it when I don't even have a source of income. And he said, yeah, looking at it, the pocket money that was being given at the camp was in no way able to settle that amount. So he said, yes, in as much as the insurance is not able to cover that money, he's going to give me an opportunity to work at the camp if I am willing. And this was going to be I was gonna be a part of the Red Cross representatives at the camp, which I agreed, because to me it was really a good idea, and also just an opportunity to make some good time, to make the most out of my time at the camp, rather than just sitting there getting bored, a chance to interact with other people, and of course to give back. So I was given this red an orange reflector jacket. This is what we as the representatives of a Red Cross were putting on, and of course it was a volunteer thing. It was not by force, and this was something that was available for anyone who was willing. Of course, the opportunities were not as much. It was first come first served. If the opportunities are still there, but for me, I did not have to ask for it. It was offered to me. And this guy also went ahead and contacted the hospital in Austria and told them about the situation that I was facing, and requested them to allow me to pay in installments. He asked me how much I'm willing to pay per month, which I said I'm willing to pay 40 euros per month. And later on, they brought down a contract and an agreement, which I signed, that I would be paying 40 euros per month, and I did. the first 2 months my boyfriend actually paid for me, and then of course afterwards I was working, so I was able to pay for myself. So that is how I started working at this camp. And I was looking at it this way, like having a volunteer opportunity, like a volunteer, reflecting a volunteer opportunity in your CV is actually very beneficial. When people are looking at this opportunity to work at the camp, they were looking at the money, like, why would I want to work for €1 per hour? Like, that is ridiculous. But just forgetting that it's reflecting positively, like, on you as a person living at the camp, because everything that you do at the camp is actually recorded. Like, your frequency for going in and out of the camp, if you're spending too much time at the camp and they cannot make out for, like, what are you doing outside there? Are you engaging in like work that is not actually you're not entitled to? Are you engaging in other activities? All these things, nobody will approach you to ask you, unless of course you are caught in the wrong place. But the fact that somebody is working at the camp used to actually work to their advantage, nobody would ever tell you that. Nobody will ever like directly tell you that, if you're working at the camp, then maybe you get a chance to get better facilities. Maybe when you're sent to a home, you end up going to a home, a good home, or a place that will give you access to maybe schooling and all that stuff. So they used to look at all these things. Some people, even though there was actually the free opportunity to study the language at the camp, some people would never bother to start like studying German. Yet they are seeking for asylum, which means they want to stay in the country. Like, how are you going to stay in the country if you cannot even like start to integrate and start to learn the language? They give all these opportunities because they don't know if you will stay and if you will not. So yeah, so if, like, let's say for instance, somebody who was involved like in attending school at the camp, then when you are sent to a home, then they're likely to send you to a home that will also give you the same opportunity to continue doing your language course. If you're showing initiative that like you're working and all that stuff, then they also send you to a home that will give you the same opportunity to advance yourself. But if you are the person that is constantly out of the home, like disrespecting the conditions where you need to at least you should not stay out of the camp for more than 48 hours. If you continue like this, then of course when it's time to go to the camp, the home, they will send you to the worst home in the middle of nowhere with no access to school, no access to like very limited access to public transportation and all that stuff. So long story short, when it was my time to go to the home, then I was sent to just the best home that I could have ever asked for. One, because most homes are usually like really very far from the city, for some reason, very far from like public transportation. Like life becomes a little bit complicated. Yeah, like for the previous roommates that I had that was sent to the home before me, the two of them, they ended up like going to a home in the middle of nowhere. Like it was like an old an old farmhouse. That was the home, and it was just really very uncomfortable. You had to walk like through some forest to even go to where you can get public transportation. So when I went to the home, I was so lucky to find that the home was only 2 minutes away from like the main road, which was also where you could catch the bus. And then from the bus, of course, you were able to go to either like there were two bus like train stations that were accessible. Like one was only 10 minutes away by bus, and the other one was only 15 minutes away by bus. So it was between like Falkensee and Berlin-Spandau. So accessing other places was really easy, which means that even when somebody was working, then getting to work was also really convenient because of access to public transportation. Just across the road there was a supermarket, and Aldi. It was like really living in the city, so it was really nice. It was that this small home. The social worker over there were also very helpful, and in fact when I arrived at this home, there was only one bed space that was there, because of course in the homes, unless maybe you are with family, then you're put to share with somebody else. So I was put to share with this girl from Chechnya. But the best thing about like living in that room is that the lady was really never there. She only used to pop in once in a while for 5 minutes, pick up some stuff and go. So the room was all for me. She was never there, never even spent more than 5 minutes with her. So I was really lucky, because I remember when I went to this home, and I met some Kenyans there, some other 5 Kenyans, and they were like, okay, which room were you placed in? And when they heard that I was placed with a Chechnyan, they were like, no, that should not happen. You're supposed to be put with another Kenyan. Like, they were like, oh, we are going to complain to the social worker. We are paying to live here. This cannot happen. And in my heart, I was just like, before I went to the home, I really prayed to God that I get a good roommate and I get a good room. And since this is where I was placed, I just felt like that is where I should stay. And it ended up being a blessing, because, as I said, the room was all for me. There was, of course, a little refrigerator there that was all for me. All the facilities in the room were all for me, except that there was another bed that was actually not even being used. Anyway, so that is there. And then also, so these Kenyans also, they were such a blessing. That's why I'm saying that it was just such a blessing to go to this home. When I met these Kenyans, I happened to run into one of them, which was, she was this lady, like, really talkative. And of course, when you meet a black person, you cannot always assume that they are from your country. So I think it was the second day after moving to this home, then I was in the kitchen, because of course in the home you make your own food. So there is this like shared kitchen with several like cooking stations. And I ran into one lady, and she happened to find out that I'm a Kenyan, and she was so excited, and she said, please, I hope you're going to be available on Saturday, because you're going to throw you a welcome party. Which was really nice. Really, I think after the negative experience that I had experienced until this point, going to this, like being sent to this home, was just the hugest blessing, because I met some really, really, really nice, supportive people. I think there were 3 gentlemen that I met, and 3 ladies. Yes, so there were 6 of them there already, and I was the 7th, and I was so happy that I was getting to join them. It was like a really small home, which was really homely. And yes, lo and behold, this lady sent out an invitation to the rest of the Kenyans, and on Saturday, yes, I had my welcome party, and I got to meet the rest of them. And during this party, they were like, we are going to be very straight with you. We Kenyans here are not lazy, we work. And that is how I now got the initiative or the motivation to work. They said, we are not lazy, we work. We do not engage in black jobs, we do white collar jobs. And I was like, huh, okay, how is that even possible? Like, I did not know that somebody who is like still in the asylum process is able to work. And they said, yes, we are going to like give you the directions, but you are going to work, and you are going to build yourself. You're not going to be sitting here and receiving social money. No, even as you're living in this home, you can pay and win yourself off completely from receiving any help from the government. So that was really helpful. And they were like, please just let us know which kind of work that you need to do to know. And all these people had connections, and they were like, this one can like this one is working in a hotel. They can tell you like how to get work there. And there is also an agency where you can go and register yourself. All you need to do is just go with your ID and say, I want to work, and they will look at the available opportunities and help you process your papers. So that was really helpful, and I got the idea that now, okay, I'm able to work. But of course, that was just not straight away. If you're in the asylum process, for you to be able to work, you have to get like approval from the Ausländerbehörde, who will also contact the Agentur für Arbeit. And if the Agentur für Arbeit approves that you can work, then you'll be able to work. So it doesn't mean that automatically anyone that is in the asylum process is able to work. There are a lot of things that they look at, and they can either say yes or no. But the good thing with this Landkreis, so this district that our home was in, is that they were really supportive when it came to people that wanted to work, or people that wanted to do an Ausbildung, or people, whatever it is that somebody wanted to do to integrate into the society. It's like this home is actually sent, you're sent there for you to integrate. It doesn't happen with so many homes, because people are getting such a hard time getting, like, you know, the papers like for the retirement benefits, or social security and all that. People are getting really hard time accessing these documents, and when any of these documents is missing, then you are not able to start working. Yeah. So the funny thing is that as soon as I arrive at this camp, and we were being given like everyone had their own mailbox where you were able to receive your mails, and you were given your own key to access the mailbox. The other thing that was being provided in this home, like when you get there, you were given like new beddings, a new duvet, new pillow, new duvet covers, bed sheets. You're given like sauce pots and pans. You're given this, you know, this utensils, luminac, very new, like plates. You were given cups. You're given really good spoons. Like it was a really good times. And I guess that maybe every home depends with the kind of management that that actually exists there. So when it comes to work, then these ladies, even they even offered, actually one of them even offered to take me to the agency where I could register myself that I wanted to work. And I did not really waste time. So the following week, I think on Monday, I went to this agency and I gave my ID and they helped me fill up the paperwork with my information, and told me that on my behalf they would apply for a work permit, and then once they get the approval, once they receive the work permit, then they will post me to a place that I'm able to work. And really I got really excited. And lo and behold, I think after a couple of weeks, I received a letter again in my mailbox, which was the work permit allowing me to start to work with this agency. And they were actually posting me to work with Amazon, for packaging. But during this period where I was waiting for the work permit, I also happened, like by chance, like what are the chances that in this Germany you will run into somebody that is actually your relative, like your blood relative you've never met, you never knew that this person existed, but I happened to run into a blood relative. I went to this shop in Masai Market. For the people that live in Berlin, you know, they shop in Masai Market for Jeff, and there was this guy there sitting drinking, and started just to speak to me and asking me what my name is, what where I come from, and all the people that were there thought that he was actually hitting on me. But you know, when they say blood is thicker than water, this guy actually turned out to be a relative, a very close relative. Like our grandparents are actually brothers. I didn't even know he existed. He did not know of my existence. In the midst of just asking me questions, he asked me like what my clan name is, and I told him, and he was so surprised because that is also the clan that he comes from. Like, what are the odds? And then he told me, go and find out from your parents if they know this and that person. Then I told my mother, and my mother found out that yes, they are very close relatives. Why I'm even bringing this up is that my cousin actually ended up introducing me to a guy, his friend, and this guy of his had really many connections with hotels, with actual hotels, and the friend of his found me the first job in an actual hotel where I was working as a receptionist in Berlin. He connected me to this hotel and took me to the place where I went through an interview, the first interview and then the second interview, and I was accepted to work in this place. So everything just started to work in very mysterious ways. Another thing that I would say that, and again, as soon as I got to this home, during the very first week, I got a letter again in my mailbox, and this one was for the Sozialversicherung, and this one is like for the retirement benefits. Like when you start working, you need like this social security number for you to be able to like start saving towards your retirement. I did not apply for this document. I don't know who applied it on my behalf, but it came to my mailbox, and now that was one of the documents that I would need when I started working. And then when before I even did my interview, before I even officially registered for ASYLUM, only because I registered or I was taken to this camp in Eisenhüttenstadt, I got my my tax ID, like my personal identification number, which was also very important, needed, which was also required when starting to work. So I already had my social or security number. I already had my personal identification number. Once I got to this home, immediately they applied for me for this is called Krankenkasse or health insurance. So I had my health insurance, which was also very important when starting to work, because if you do not have this, then you cannot start working. And I also had like my Ausweis, my green Ausweis. So the only thing at this point that I did not have when I went to this for this interview at the hotel was a work permit, because when I went to this interview, I did not tell them that I'm actually an asylum seeker or whatever. I was just somebody qualified and who had like previous hotel experience that went to an interview and performed well in that interview. I was able to like take the interview in German, and they were impressed. And immediately, even before I got back to the Heim, I got an email that yes, I'm being given the position, and they need all these documents: the Sozialversicherung, the Krankenkasse, and the Steuer ID, like that is the tax ID, and of course my own identification, my Ausweis or my Aufenthaltstitel. And yes, at that point, once I got back to the Heim, then I was thinking, now where do I go and make copies of these documents or do scanning for these documents? I was not very familiar with the area because, again, I had just moved to this Heim. So I decided to go to the social worker, and I said, okay, I have gotten this and this job, I have this, because by then I already had a contract. I have this job contract and I need these documents. How do I go about them? And this lady takes over everything. She fills in all the forms that I need. She fills in all the documents and sends them directly from her email to my employer, and asks whatever documents that they need, and helps me to apply for like the work permit, because I already had a work permit, but that work permit was only restricted to this company, this Amazon, and I could not use it for this other company. So the thing is, when you are like still in the asylum process, when you're just beginning and you're given the opportunity to work, then your opportunity to work are limited to only the company that you have a contract with. If you need to change companies, then you need to apply for a new work permit. So this social worker took over, helped me apply for a work permit. And long story short, it was even taking long. She personally like called the people in the Ausländerbehörde and asked them that yes, my day for starting to work is approaching, and they need this document. She followed up everything and even personally sent the copy of the work permit to my employer, and there I was able to start working without any issues, without any hindrances. And even the people that I was working with did not know that I was an asylum seeker, because there was no difference between them and with me. And even my salary was actually within the salary range of what they were paying everybody else that was working at the reception. So long story short, somebody wanted to know how I started working. That is how I started working. It has been such a blessing. And of course, I started working like on the 20th of July. I'm still working until today, we are now coming to the end of February. So yes, God has been really good. And let me just say that since I started working, I've not gotten any like negative report from the Ausländerbehörde or whatever. They just left me alone. As long as I'm working and I'm playing by the rules, I'm paying taxes, I'm not caught up with any unlawful in any unlawful situation, then up to this point I would say that everything has gotten like really quiet, and I cannot thank God enough. I cannot thank God enough. I know that I've spoken too much and maybe I've skipped one thing here and there, and if there is something that you still need me to clarify, you can of course ask. Maybe at the end of the day I will have to sit down and filter out the questions and do a Q&A so that I'm able to cover at least all the questions that you people may have for me. But yes, I have now gotten to a point that I'm getting my back on my feet. I'm getting my life back together, and I guess just continue to see like where this journey of life is taking me to. So that was just like a positive testimony after all the negativity that I had to go through, just to say that yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel if you keep trusting in God, if you keep praying, if you keep just believing that everything happens for a purpose and that God has your back, then you can overcome. So thank you so much for watching today. Yeah, I really need to prepare to leave in the next 1 hour again to go to work, and I will see you on another video. Bye.